Dun dun dun! Let's make some noise. we're live. I'm back at my house, obviously, back from my long trip to WESTECH. It's always fantastic to get down there and see those guys because they're awesome. Brule and Ish and Troy, Rick, Eric, all those guys. I haven't seen them for quite a while, and it was really good to get down there. Lots of great things happened. I did a ton of testing, which a video I'm working on today on spark plug indexing. Probably will be the first one I put up on the 5.3 liter, the fantastic L33, best engine ever made. Actually, it's probably my number one junkyard score. I've wanted to find an aluminum version, and I finally did, and we've been using the heck out of it. That on this trip alone, it has more than 100 pulls on it. So for you guys out there that are thinking, I wouldn't run mine on the dyno, that's just too hard on it. No, it's not. They're just full throttle runs. It will do that over and over and over and over again. Before I went to Engine Masters with my Engine Masters entry, that motor had 441 pulls on it. And then it went to the competition and was a finalist and would have done very well. It was in the top 6, would have done a little bit better had they not melted it down, but that's another story for another day. So that motor's working good. It had a lot of miles on it, and it had, I don't know what kind of maintenance the thing had and what kind of maintenance. All I've done is run a whole bunch of cams through it, and now intake manifolds and spark plugs, and we ran boost on it and all kinds of stuff. So it's a good motor, keeps going. It's all aluminum. I got a lot of testing done on that. On the 2.2, I got a lot of stuff done on it. So my goal was to go down there and get the thing together and at least get it running. I got most of that done. The motor's ready to run, but my adapter plate assembly was not 100% yet. And it would take, the way that we had it configured would have taken a little bit of rigmarole. You can look that word up to get it working. Luckily, today, that was all solved by the internet. More specifically, the 2.2 liter community, and more specifically, shout out to James Reeves. You guys might know, if you're 2.2 guys, you may know him or of him. You've seen him and his amazing 9-second Omni from running at Drag Week and stuff. He made an adapter to bolt the 2.2 to a standard V8 bell housing. So, I don't know why I didn't go that way to begin with. I'm sure it was foolish of me not to do that. We made an adapter to go to the backside of the bell housing and then go to the dyno. But there's a lot of spacing that we got to make up because the spacer itself is reasonably thick. We can trim that down. I was going to take about 300 thousandths off of it in my attempt to make everything work, but then have to space either the flywheel or the drive plate or the drive hub, the splined hub, the input shaft. But none of that's necessary now because the other problem is that the factory bell housing for the 2.2, the rear wheel drive one, is fairly deep. So it's hard to make up all of that real estate and have all that work and then have the tip of the input shaft align, go into the pilot bushing and the crankshaft, so that's centered so that it stays stabilized and stuff. So this should solve all of that. So if he's going to send out an adapter plate that basically will allow the 2.2 with this adapter plate that bolts to the block, and then the block will then bolt to the V8 bell housing, and then I can use the standard flywheel, which I'm going to talk to the guys at the car farm about getting just a used one and get that sent out. So, and then James also offered up a number of other things because, as you might imagine, doing what he's doing and at the success level that he's gone through a lot of stuff. And so he's got a bunch of camshafts and all kinds. So we talked about all kinds of cool things. It's always great to talk about racers that have been doing it and have been testing stuff and making boosts. Cause you got to give at least 2 thumbs up to a guy that's running more than 40 pounds of boost on these little 8 valves. So it's good stuff. So we got to talk about a lot of cool stuff. I got to ask a lot of questions about things that I plan on doing, things that he's probably already run. So, I was curious what turbos he's running and stuff. I hate those kind of ice cubes. They're perfect, they fit perfectly as a nice little blockade on the edge of the glass. So I got to do all that. But so the 2.2 should be running the next time I go down, which won't be till after Christmas, unfortunately. But the other thing I got done, and in honor of today being a let's get our projects done, I want to know what kind of projects you guys have gotten done. The other project that I got done was in my storage area, my messy storage area, there was a 2.5 sitting there that came out of my Omni attached to the 568 trans. And so I got the trans disconnected from the engine, got the flywheel, the clutch and pressure plate assembly, which has a good clutch and pressure plate on it. That flywheel is not the same as, if you guys are thinking, well, why don't you use that flywheel? That flywheel is not the same as the one that I have. So I got all that stuff off, and then I also got the intake manifold, the turbo, the cylinder head. I got all that off, and so now the short block is going to go down to the machine shop, and then we'll set it up for. I have a set of WESTECH pistons for it, so we'll probably put it together like that first. I was thinking about putting rods and pistons in it, which might also be a possibility, but so we'll see. I'm kind of leaning toward the rod and piston route, just because that would give us enough strength to kind of do lots of stuff. I know James was saying on his, they even did a 4-bolt block upgrade. They put different 4-bolt mains on it, which is kind of cool, making lots and lots of power. So we were talking about different camshafts and different ported heads, and all the normal kind of cool stuff. It's amazing that cars run 9s, 990s on using the stock ECU, just reprogramming the stock ECU. So that's very, very cool. So big thumbs up. So we were talking about the slider stuff and the roller stuff and the different heads and all kinds of things. So lots and lots of good information. It's always good to talk to somebody that's done stuff that you haven't done. So so you can learn. Hopefully that's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, so you guys can learn from my mistakes, and then I can learn from other information and experience that other guys have had. So good stuff there. I'm going to go ahead and go to live chat up here so we can get to people's chats. So let me know. We'll let's see. We'll start a poll. Okay, so in honor of me getting the 2.2 project kind of done, at least what I wanted to get done, will the Turbo 2.5 build eventually make 700 horsepower? Well, let's see what people have to say. I thought it was interesting too on James's stuff that he's running a big. It's actually a couple of modified. I think he's running 2 944 turbo intercooler cores that he's running at air to air on it, and I thought that was interesting because although since he's drag racing, the thing is so light, maybe running an air to water might not be the way to go, because it might add too much weight, but it definitely add power, and we're definitely going to try that on the engine dyno. So we'll definitely run different. I have different intercoolers. I have the stock T2 intercooler, but we have obviously other air to air upgrades for it. We have obviously the air to waters that we run on all the stuff, and I have the chili bomb also. So we'll try the chili bomb, see how well that works. So we'll see how our poll gets going and see how you guys are doing. And I'll kind of scroll back here and see what's going on. Yep, it is the afternoon on the East Coast. East Coast, I know, because I have to wake up early to catch the market opening up at 6:30 our time. It's 3 or 9:30 back there. Todd's in the house. Have you ever tested BTR's 400 plus nitrous cam? That might be the one that we ran on the. If you take a look at the video I have up on the 5.3 liter Big Bang, I think I put the specs on that nitrous cam. You could take a look and see if that's the one that you're talking about. I think decades ago, dynos were hard on engines. It took an hour instead of 15 seconds. Not decades ago, because I was testing decades ago, and it's the same as it is now, because in fact, we're using the same dynos. Ask Richard if he has a bass boost on his game. I don't think mine has that. I don't think mine has any plugins. Now I'm feeling kind of left out. I want some USB ports on it. In the UK's in the house. JMS Cortina. I like the Lotus Cortinas, if that's what that's named after. Those are very, very cool. One of the guys out here, James Bostic from Bostic Racing, has a Cortina with a little small buck Ford in it. Temperatures at freezing lowers my motivation. I hear you. When I went out this morning, everything was frozen. The lawn was frozen. All the cars were frozen over and stuff. When I was driving back last night, it got into the 30s. So I don't know how cold it got overnight, but it was a little chilly. Lots of good advice from Richard. Has my LQ4 running 10 so far. Nice. Yeah, let us know what kind of car that is, and let us know your setup. That's cool. 10s is impressive. That's a good number. Good afternoon, Richard. You're back at the house. I'm going to inspect testing videos. The first one's going up today. Having to go through the archives to get my fix. Yeah, there's going to be some neat stuff up. I think people are going to like the low buck stuff versus the expensive stuff. I'm about to put new cylinder heads on my 351 Cleveland. What heads are you putting on there? It's kind of a big job. The first time doing a head swap. Have you guys have any tips on the Cleveland? The heads bolt on fairly easily. Just make sure that you have the right push rod length and that you adjust the valves and rockers correctly. That's good stuff. Clevelands are nice. Yeah, Reeves is kind of a big deal. He is. Mostly because he's related to Christopher Reeves. Probably not. Or Steve Reeves. Let's see. The Gumball Rally. Tell me to replace my piston rings with my 258 Hornet. Nice. Chili bomb. Yeah, we do got to do the chili bomb. 700 is doable. Can you put nitrous and methyl injection on a 2.5 to make 700 horsepower? Both of those would help that. We will run it on the way or the things that will help get to it if we ever get to that point. We will have E85 and we will have ice water in the air-to-water intercooler. Richard, do you think a thicker head gasket would solve? It would change the compression, definitely. I don't know what size gasket you have on there. The factory ones are 53s. Just got the engine transmission out of my 58 Cadillac. I appreciate the motivation. Got ported heads and the small ISKI cam ready for it. It will have the original parts matching 365. Cool. 58 Caddy. Flat bottom is installed with all quarter turn fasteners. Nice. Building 57 fastback with complete Detroit speed suspension. Nice. That's got to be a nice piece. They make good stuff. I plan on using a 408 stroker and wondered how it needs to be built. I really like the 408 with nitrous video. That one had a little bit more cam than I would put in a street car. I'd use the smaller of those two cams, I think, on that 408 if it's going to be a street car. Mark II Cortina Estate, actually, nice. Not as pretty as the Lowe's Mark I LQ4. Is the Estate the wagon? Got the K5 moving under its own power. Nice. Don't get it right. Get it running. Now it needs a lot of parts. $400 worth of suspension, about 1,200 engine parts. Hoping for 400 NA with some nitrous. What motor's in it? E1337. Deluxe 247. Purple Monkey, there's been at least a couple people over 700 at the flywheel. Yeah, James said his is making 577 at the wheels, so that's up there pretty good. Restorations, or will stage 3 can be too much to actually drive this a lot of miles? Which one? Oh. Is the stage 3 the bigger of the two that we ran? I would pick the smaller of those two cams. I just drilled out and did a quick cleanup of a port job on my 302 E7 heads for my work. 351, nice. Gave me the motivation to work out and hit the bike today. Nice. I need to do that too. I'm on a mission. Just finished my C5Z, heads cam and intake, 5.7, 10.7 to 1, MSD atomic. That's a good intake now. Whole PRC 2.5s, those are good. Stage 4 NA cam. That thing should make, I was going to say, that thing should make good power. Sounds like a good combination. 479 the tire. Is that on a stick car, Gunther? Just put the snow plow on the truck. 24 inches overnight. Yep, that's going to need it. Would adding a little soap to the ice water in the air core make any difference? Does it change the surface tension? I don't think you'd see a noticeable change. You know, you might try water wetter to see if that will help. 85 and hydrazine. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna try that. FR 195 small block Ford heads. They okay, yeah, those are good. 4-door wagon, yes, in USA speak. That's right. I forgot. That's why I thought the estate. I was doing my translation from British standard estate to wagon. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of wagons though. Prepping for the ice storm coming. I'm at work. Exmo. I'm currently on a 5-day wait for parts to get the chassis rolling on a 76 FJ40. Nice. Decided to dive into the top end of the 400 Pontiac and the Trans Am. Just watch the other guy's video. I know I have a 400 block sitting there doing a VQ35 swap and a Fox body. I'm debating 393 Windsor with a 302 piston, 351 rods, ported Chinese heads, Typhoon intake, or pull it out and put an iron Gen 6 in there. A Gen 6 ultimately is probably going to be less money and make more power. How thick should I order? Lower 210. The Todd, you're thinking about it the wrong way. You shouldn't be thinking about dynamic compression. The dynamic compression isn't just a function of the cranking compression and dynamic compression are related, but you can also change that with cam timing, which I suspect you have the wrong. I suspect something's going on with your camshaft because it shouldn't have 210 pounds of cranking compression with the setup that you're talking about, unless the guy, I don't think you'd have enough piston to valve clearance to have that kind of cranking compression. Something's going on with that motor. If you wanna take that motor out, I'll take it down to WESTECH and I'll fix it. Got my fuel system done on my LS swap Grand Wagoneer and fired it up. Restorations. I don't know. Look at the video and see. I thought that one of the cams was the XFI stroker cam, if I remember right, and then the other one was the bigger trick flow cam. I can see on here now. I could go to my dyno results. Data. Come on, come on. Documents. So this is small block Ford. 351. Stroker. Ooh, CHI 3V heads. 408. TFS. Not that. Oh, this might be under, since we did nitrous on this thing. There we go. File test description. So this thing made 600 and something. The TFS cam was a 250, 254. So that's pretty big. And that's the 600 horsepower one. So let's see. So let's see here. Okay. Still looking. I know we ran a smaller cam in it. There we go. So we ran a comp XFI 248 cam. So that's the smaller one. That one made like 540. But would be a better, I think that's where we were at, right? Yeah, so that would be a better driver. Let's see. Put 5-liter Ford injectors on the 2.5. No, we have on the 2.5 we have 80 pounders, or we have 1500s. We have lots of different ones. But I'm glad you reminded me, because I might need a different fuel rail for the T1, because the one that I have is full of rust. Flywheel. Okay. And 5-liter Ford injectors on the 2.5. 5-liter Ford injectors is smaller than the stock injector on the 2.5 anyway. It's too small. The ones that are in there are 33s, and you'd need a stock 5-liter Ford is 19. Sir, the 350 Vortec with the 305 Vortec heads work. Drove it for the first time last week in a 3500 Chevy, 5-speed truck, lots of torque. Nice. What wearing gap do I need on my 60 millimeter turbo 89 vet? We like 28 thousandths on that. 28 to 30s. That's what you need, is a Datsun 210. A real challenge to make power with. Does anybody know if it's true that the top bolt on a small block Chevrolet block for the bell housing is threaded? It's a 4-bolt. I don't know which one you're talking about. Which LS head combustion chamber is the least prone to detonation? I don't know. The probably the 317, only because it's the biggest chamber, but it isn't the best design. So if you eliminated just the change in static compression and the reduction in the chance of detonation from that, and if you're talking about the chamber design itself, I don't think it's going to be the 317. The 799 head is and the 706 head both have much better chambers, but you're going to run into detonation first from a change in static compression. So the one with the biggest chamber is going to be the least likely to detonate, because your compression is going to be low. I got a set of Mini Cooper supercharged injectors if you want to use them. No, we have the injector situations already taken care of. Like I said, we have 80 pounders, which will give us a lot of potential, even on E85s. And then I have 1500s also. So that's going to be essentially double that. So 80 times 8. We can make 640 NA times 0.85. So we make 544 under boost times point. So we make 400, 80-pound injectors. We make 400 with E85, which would take us up fairly high, higher than we'll ever go on the 2.2, certainly. When it's time to do the 2.5, we'll step up to probably the 1500s. I've got a 5.3 Gen 4 rods and pistons, gap rings, 219 with 862 heads, 660 springs, Gen 1. Well, if it's a Gen 1 VS Racing 78, 75, that's near 900 horsepower potential. So that's what that turbo can do. So the rest of the stuff, the fact that you have a cam in it is enough for you to get everything out of that turbo. No, you went to a stage 5 in the video. The stage 3 made 500 plus. Then you went to a stage 5 cam. I have the notes. I was reading the notes out. on my test data, so I know which cams I ran. So this one is the XFI 248, and then the next one is the this one is the test description is the Trick Flow 003. It says, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a stage 3 or not, but it's that might be a part of the part number. It's 595 lift, 250, 254 at 50 and 110 degree LSA. Is that right? Does that sound right? Yeah, Todd, leave all of this stuff on it. The intake, throttle body, injectors, all of that. Yeah, and they're right, Punisher. I think other people were mentioning it. If you have 80-pound injectors running on E85, you're going to be near the flow limit of the injectors there. Richard, can I use a stock LS springs when checking piston to valve clearance using clay on the piston, or do I need checker? You should use checker springs, because if you have the stock springs in there, they're going to depress the lifter unless you have a solid lifter in there. Richard, have you done a video on the effects of moving injectors up away from the intake manifold? Yes, it definitely does add power. Take a look at the video that I have. I did it. The best one is on the Honda, because I moved them from down near the port. Actually, it was closer to halfway up the stack injection to the top of the hat, basically. So it definitely had a change in power, and it does every time we do that. Is there a way to go to distributor and carb on a 2000 Ford 2.5 from a Ranger? I'm not familiar with enough with that block and stuff to know what they've done. Center bell housing bolt on the older small block is threaded. I'm not sure about one-piece rear seal blocks. I filled an old lifter with clay. Okay, is it solid enough to do what you're doing? How's our pole doing? So 60-40 on the eventually making 700 horsepower. I don't know if I have a set of Wiseco standard bore pistons. And so we can hone the block, which it looks like it's in good shape. It does need to be surfaced because it torques the block a little bit, definitely torques the chamber. But I don't know if just the piston is going to be enough to get us where we need to go. The best chamber design LS I was referring to, you said 799 and I didn't say LS9. I said 799 243 is better than a 317. Is there an advantage to chamber design of Gen 4 or 5 LTS? Those chambers are designed specifically for to work with a piston design in a direct injection head. So I don't know what you mean by best. It's rather than looking specifically at that thing, you should just tell us how much power you want to make, and I'll tell you how to do it. Piston with rods. Yeah, I'm leaning more toward that. I forgot to ask James if they sleeved if they sleeved his block. But he was not running O-rings on it. In fact, he's running he put 1/2-inch head studs in it. But it was using like Felpro and Mopar Performance head gaskets, which I thought was surprising. Also, the camshaft intake and exhaust lobes, flipped around. The valve orientation is different on the Gen 5. Yeah, Burns, why did you want to run a distributor on that? I'm just curious. Huh, Milo? We want to know. Milo's happy I'm home, huh? Milo's happy, huh? Bear, 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 bear. So I drove late last night. I missed our live feed last night because I was on the road, but I made it here so that I could wake up early and do some trading, do a morning show. Car Farm. Hey, Car Farm, I talked to James Reeves this morning, and we've solved, well, he has solved the bell housing issue. So I'll get together with you, Ben, and let you know what I will need a flywheel, but I think Brian said he ordered one from Rock Auto, so maybe they're available there. If you use the head that David Vizard reported, 700 should work. You'll need a cam to take advantage of the flow. We talked about cams. He's got a few cams there that I can test. He's going to try to send me an 88 TBI roller cam, and then he has a couple of the forward motion cams, and then also some custom ones that they did with the guys from Bullet. Not the movie Bullet, not Steve McQueen, but the other Bullet. Funny Bike. Vizard is sending the head, but we also have other ported heads as well too. So it'll be interesting to see how much boost can a stock C4 make. I don't know what you mean by make. Can it take? Is that what is the M next to the T? No, it's not. Punisher, take a look at the video that I did on the L98. I have videos up on turbocharging one of those tune port motors. It just makes a lot of torque. It does what it does stock. There's just more of everything. Hellcat power from a 2.5 valve. I don't think WESTECH has run. I know I haven't. I've never run a Hellcat motor there on the engine dyno to see what it does. Yeah, take a look. The video's up. I'm thinking that we made 600 foot-pounds or something with that thing. I'm thinking. So dyno, small block Chevy, turbo, L98 turbo. We also ran nitrous on that. Yeah, we made 500 horsepower and 610 foot-pounds at, let's see. Do we have the boost level? Lose pressure. Here we go. 8.6 pounds. So that would annihilate the tires. Bullet K24 project fluid. You know, the one that I'm following is it 4-piston? I'm going to see. Excuse me, 4-piston head. Let's see. Are those guys that had the billet block? I think it was. Let's see if they posted another thing here. But it was pretty cool. I like the I think it was like 1,000 horsepower deal. The other one you guys should watch if you don't follow on Instagram, like follow Boxa Diesel. BOXZA_diesel, and they do the cool, they're really nice looking small displacement turbo diesel builds for the river boats in Thailand or wherever. It's pretty cool. 700 horsepower Rampage, yeah, that'd be a lot. 4-piston makes some cool stuff, yeah. Milo's photobombing. What are you doing, Milo? He's in sleep mode. Do you remember the boost level you ran on your Mustang for street driving? On my Vortec, it was like 7 or 8 pounds. Have you tested any of the cam motion stuff? Yeah, I've run cam motion stuff. It works good. Is changing the size of the plenum like you did with the Shark Monster with the Keglodon comparable with changing carb spacers? No, not really. Carb spacers will change plenum, but on a carbureted application, they change the signal to the carburetor. So changing the signal to the carburetor changes the jetting requirement. What kind of supercharger would you recommend putting on a 4.6 liter 4-valve double over cam Lincoln? Don't they have kits for that? What year is that? They probably have kits because that's like either an early 96 and 98 B-headed Cobra motor, or it's the later version, depending on what year it is. And they probably already have kits for that. Vortec probably has one. ProCharger has one. If you ever want to run a Subaru STI, I can loan you one. It's never been run. Carb E85 nitrous 8th mile track only build, looking to get 800 horsepower on a single stage. So Lucas, what? I didn't see what your question was back here. So I'm scrolling back. Oh, best chamber design. So you're not looking for chamber design, really. You're looking for power. Philip, thank you very much. So I'm trying to find Philip's thing again. Oh, no, that was Lucas, right? Carb 85 nitrous 8th mile track only build. And what Lucas, what size is the motor? Did I already go through that? Did I forget already? Yeah, I didn't see the displacement there. Getaways. What's going on? CB Media can't wait to get the rotary long tail going. Oh, can't wait to see him get the long tail media going. Can you tell Justin to hurry up and build my motor? Find some C-heads, Terminator lower intake, and you have plenty of options. Yeah, you can go with the factory 03, 04 Cobra stuff. I'm looking at their 218-22. They're the only people that seem to have small grinds that are still small car designs and not just truck. The camshaft doesn't know what vehicle it's going in, so the camshaft works the same whether they call it a truck cam or a car cam. CB Media channel on YouTube covers Thailand motorsports very well. Cool. Two-cycle bikes, yeah, they've got some cool stuff. There's performance guys everywhere, which is awesome, which is kind of the reason we're doing it. Just dropped off my TBI 350 at the machine shop. I like the have you seen the things that they look like they look like a lawn tractor or something that are almost like an overextended rototiller, and then they're standing on a little wheeled platform, and then they race those out on these dirt roads. It's pretty cool. Philippe, I'm sure, is it Philippe or Philip? Either way, thank you. Indonesia and India have some talent in motorcycle engine builds. Yeah, they're doing it up. Is it possible on a 4853 with a 799 243 head, 800 horsepower on the bottle, stock crankshaft? We've done on a junkyard 5.3 with a 706 head. We've done 730, I think, is what we were when I was doing the challenge with the one of the drag race guys. LS Cathedral Port nitrous 5.3 it's from one of the Street Outlaws guys. I think it was Chris. It was Kamikaze Chris. So let's see, full timing. Those were 750. And that was just a cammed 5.3 with a carburetor and plate system on. And basically we ran, the plate wouldn't flow anymore. So with a better plate, I don't see why that's not possible. Stock crank, aftermarket piston rod. Yeah, and especially if you did a ported head, it would be, you'd make a lot more NA power, so it'd be easier to start out with. Because we were starting out with that NA motor made, I think it only made low 400s. Let's see, final NA. So yeah, it made 450. So you could certainly push that up to 500 with the right stuff. So you'd be better off. Yeah, so 800 is not a problem. Richard, have you done any Ford 3-liter Vulcan engines? I haven't done any. Only the closest to that would be the old SHO Taurus stuff, and that was all chassis dyno back with the show shop guys. Racing 2-wheel horses. 2-stroke stuff. 2-stroke stuffing is a cool channel that builds some cool homemade 20 horsepower 50cc engines. It's not always successful. That people like that more. All these channels make me want to start posting my builds. You should. That's more information for everybody. The only thing that YouTube doesn't have right now is you. It's pretty clever, huh? We're putting together a big block Buick 455, 71 Skylark. Nice. What heads are going to use? Are they Edelbrocks or something? Richard, what kind of power can the stock bottom end handle on my 76? It's a Chevy 350? I don't know if it's a 4-bolt or what it is, but how much power are you wanting to make on it? I will tell you. We've done 1,000 horsepower with stock bottom end small blocks. I don't know how long it'll last like that, though. The 2.5 has the wrong rod ratio, so no. So you think rod ratio would be the thing that would stop it from making power? That's not accurate. In fact, the James's car is a 2.5, making 577 at the tire, so that's near 700 horsepower. Same old welding and grinding all day, making other people's cars cooler than yours. Yeah. I have a Yamaha RX 52-stroke street bike. Looks like a little mini midnight special. Nice. Roman, thank you very much. It also has the wrong cam. It does. But the thing is, what happens if we piston flip it? Roman, so your question is, I have a 302 going in a half-ton truck with RPM, air gap intake, and GT40 heads. What cam do you recommend for a stock stall? Maybe an E303 or one of the smaller extreme energy grinds. Let's see what the smaller ones are. That's an XFI. That's an extreme energy. So we have run probably a 258. 264 might work with a stock. Might work with a stock converter. Wrong intake. It's got all the wrong stuff. Probably Edelbrock heads. Yeah, there's not a lot of other stuff I don't think available for that. It's a Buick, right? Not a what's the other one? Olds, big black Olds. 600 with nitrous. I'd stay under 220 degrees for stock converter. Yeah, these are all quite a bit under that. 206, 212. He's pulling the book. That's right. I haven't run a lot. I can't even remember running that. I'm sure I have at some point, but I can't remember running that 258 extreme energy cam, the smallest one. Working on getting my heads off for a head and cam swap, but it's in a 63 Nova. We have to pull the engine to do the swap. I do like those cars, though. I like that little one, the little 63. If you put a thick washer on your spark plug, it'll increase the displacement. That's right. I did a test while I was down at WESTECH. We did tapered seat versus gasketed seat, and it obviously changed the compression because we moved the spark plug out. Big block Buick, yeah. What aftermarket flat top pistons would you recommend on a Mild Street TBI 350? If you want to put a forge one in, there's lots of good forge stuff. Or there's lots of hyper-eutectic stuff that you can use on. I wouldn't be afraid to run on a street motor. Lots of RV parts for the Buick. One thing I will say about flat top pistons for a 350, be very careful of compression height and dropping compression. Some of them are 154, not 156 compression heights. No, we got you, Struner. We got you. I see you. Will a 2.5 turbo build eventually make 700 horsepower? So those are creeping in. No, the yeses are creeping up. So it's 6337 now. I think it was 6040 before. Both comp cams and trick flow make valve spring kits for your GT40 head, so you don't have to machine them. Max lift is 550 with a kit. That's enough to do well. Some of those extreme energy cams have, like that 274 has a 255, 265, I think. Any testing in the future of an LT8? I don't have any of those, so I don't have that scheduled. But we are going to do some more L83 stuff. To do some all motor and some turbo stuff. I think 750 is a taller. Yeah, we didn't say 750. We said 700. So 750, that's way out of there. 750, that's easy breezy. Tall order, even boost and spray. We won't need both of those to do it. It'll take a lot of boost to do it. Because if we can get the NA motor with a cam and ported head, man, that's still not going to be. I know James was telling me about one that they did, an NA one that made 300, but that was with a Brodex head that they had, which is a raised port, which is super cool, but that's not what I want to do. What's the best way to start on choosing cam piston rods to clear larger 202 valves on a 351 Windsor? So you're choosing all of that based on the head? Most of the pistons that you would get have valve reliefs for that size valve. Most of the piston, any aftermarket forged piston is going to have a valve relief in it. If it has a valve relief to be able to clear that size valve, so that's not a problem. Would Pac 1218s be too much for a Truck Norris? I don't know enough about a Pac 1218. I don't know what it is. I don't know that part number off the top of my head. With a cam and a B4B Edelbrock intake, the dual plane the Buick has been 1234. Nice. Thumping out some torque. If the Pac 1218 is a 600 lift cam, that's fine for a Truck Norris. You don't need that much spring for it, and that's going to put you pretty far away from coil bind, but it should still work. Are you putting 700 horsepower in the Omni? No, no. That's just another test motor. The 2.5 is, but it might go in something with the guys from the car farm. The trans that's in the car farm, the trans that's in my Omni right now is a 523. I have a 568 also that was attached to the 2.5. Pac 1218s get used for the sloppy stage 2. That's a good combination for that because that's a 585 lift. And if it's a 600 spring, that puts it a lot closer. Wonder if webcam has some data on the GLH. Yeah. James is saying that the guys from Bullet did billet cams, billet roller cams back in the day. So I may reach out to those guys and see if they have cores and also see if they still have profiles. Victor, I got a 91 LX 306 trick flow top end kit, Vortec 10 pounds, 42 pound injectors, 420 to the wheels. It's a street car. Did you use the trick flow camshaft also too as a stage 1 or stage 2 camshaft? All of that seems like it's working pretty well. Daryl, thank you very much. Did you have a question? Dan's in the house. Welcome, Dano. Victor. Oh, the trick flow top end kit. Do you have the standard twisted wedge head on that? With the standard twisted wedge head, especially with the blower, you're nowhere near the potential of what that combination can do. Alan, yes, it's going to do 85 on my motor. It's a turbo car. Okay. Going from 317 supported 799s and from an LS9 cam to an 8720. That's going to be a huge difference. That change. I don't have a power goal for the Omni right now. The power goal is to put the motor that's in it, which is a stock T2, and then get it registered and everything. And then there's no power goal. There's just testing. We'll make a power goal for the 2.5 that's going on the engine dyno. So that will be a build motor, but we'll also test stuff along the way. Yeah, we're not going to spend it anywhere near 7,500 to make that happen. It's just going to take a lot more boost. But I will make an adjustable cam. Daryl, I'll make an adjustable intake so we can run a little bit more RPM. But with the rod ratio on the 2.5, it's not going to want to spin. Be cool to see one of those 2.5s making power at 7,500. I was told that a lot of guys that are, well, not a lot of guys, obviously. Obviously, James is not doing that. Somebody had told me that high horsepower guys are going back to the 2.2, maybe because of limited head flow and they want more engine speed, and maybe that works out better when they're track racing it or something. Because James was saying that he has traction issues, obviously, and a 2.5 would be more inclined to do that. So there may be something to balance out there for an actual track racing deal. I don't know about the power thing, though. I didn't ever fix the 455 Buick yet, but I got a bunch of stuff to test on it. What internal temperature for chicken breast? Somebody's saying $1.65. Best thing for E85, it was a flex fuel sensor that makes nice for adjustment. Have you seen Blueprint Engines 3.6 liter 4-cylinder with the LS3 head? I did. I saw that. Many people, in fact, Mark Sanchez just sent me a screenshot of that when I was driving back home. 300 horsepower and 300 foot-pounds of NA. That's a good amount. Brass, thank you. Yourself, sloppy and boosted lifestyle inspired me to turbo an LS for a Fox body. Motors in the car making turbo noises. Nice. Well, you're hanging out in a good crowd, except, of course, me, but the other guys are certainly cool. Victor, do you have the stage 1 camshaft in there and what intake do you have on her? You have street burner or what is it? And do you have an intercooler on that thing? And what fuel are you running? Another Fox given a renewed life. Yeah, exactly. I need to get my Fox running. So Dan, all of the good machinists are also chefs. It's just simple. It's just math. I've been seeing D-stroke K24 builds all over Instagram, so it must be the trend. It's probably that Holdner guy who put in that D-stroke LS. I'm a big gun shy running 550 lift springs, having already popped a set of yellow beehives with a Texas Speed low lift. Hence my asking about a 600 lift cam. Did you check your install height and stuff to make sure that they were right? Maybe a better, I mean, a 600 lift 600 lift spring will work. You could even shim that up a bit and get a little bit closer. 700 horsepower is not going to need 120 psi. He's running 40-ish. What would be the outcome running more spring? Well, the farther away it is from coil bind at maximum lift, the more movement you have in the spring, so you get spring undesirable spring oscillation. I got inspired to do a turbo LS by Parrish with a Fairport. Is it Fairmont? Fairport? I think 14 years back. Are you testing at the tire as well? I'll be doing on my Omni with the stock 2.2 in it. I'll be doing chassis dyno testing as well. Fairmont event. Okay. Fairmonts are cool. Electric boost control as traction control, maybe. He does have an MS3 Pro on there now, so maybe he would be able to do that. He would be able to do gear dependent boost. I saw Garage 54's one-stroke. I'll have to watch that. I like Garage 54. A one-stroke motor. Okay. What about compressed air? Maybe. with less back pressure. Well, we would size the turbo so that we don't, so that we have a good boost to back pressure relationship. Have you ever heard of a flex fuel carb? No, I haven't. I don't know how you would change the metering in that for flex fuel. Richard, who has the other 700 horsepower? Someone from the Carb Farm doesn't have one like that. Wood pellet pizza ovens are fun, 750 degrees. Well, could you cook the powder coating in that? Beehives won't have the resonance problem. Pack 12s or ovate beehives. Okay. Do the 2.2 and 2.5 heads interchange? Yeah, they do. And it's not just a 2.2 and a 2.5, but the early G heads and the swirl heads, they do interchange, and so do the cams, the slider cams and the roller cams. Have you ever built a European V8? No, only an inline 6-cylinder. I rebuilt a motor for my mom's 65 230 SL, but it's what Nissan copied to make their 240Z engines, basically. So it's very, very similar. But the thing is, rebuilding an engine is the pistons go up and down, the camshaft spins around, they're connected. You have to connect them properly. None of it's really magic. I've done a lot of 4-valve stuff, a lot of the modular stuff and Coyote stuff. I'm so close to being done with mine. Got to figure out. Goes into reduced power and full throttle is applied, and then you think you're done. Boost by gear is reasonable, but using boost for traction control is a little slow in response. I think most guys use timing for that, right? Dan, maybe the flex fuel carburetors have a iris jets on them that open and close the passage. D-stroke K's so they can get more RPM. But why wouldn't they just make it do it with a 2-liter? Because then they can get the rod ratio. Is the Turbo PT Cruiser the same as the SRT engine? Yes, they both use the 2.4-liter turbo deal. Yeah, it'd be. I don't think they could do that with a carburetor. We were just kind of joking about that. The dual fuel carburetor would also have injectors. It also have port injectors. That's right, Jake. It's exactly that. I called it an iris because I was thinking camera, but that works too. So how's our poll doing? 59%. I think that it could eventually make 700 horsepower. So we'll close our poll out at that before all the negative Nellies come back in. Richard, is there a decent band-aid for not having a big enough stall converter on a cam? You can raise the idle speed, and maybe have you tried timing and stuff? Dan, are you inviting us all over for chicken quesadillas? Oh, so somebody out there, if you're watching, and because it's time to get going, so 1 more minute. Is somebody out there, if you do 3D printing, I need something 3D printed. If you know what a Monopoly, when you open the box on a Monopoly game and you take the game out, the folded game board, and take that out, underneath it is like a plastic tray with little slots to put the cards and the little people and the various things in. I need something like that 3D printed. So if somebody's out there and you have a 3D printer and I can give you a drawing of what I need, please let me know. Are dual valve spring kits noisy? As in they sound like a light lift or tick? I don't think so. Are you talking about the springs rubbing together? They have a bunch of oil between them, so I wouldn't think that that would be a problem. So it's RFN, Dan? I have a plasma table. Yeah, I don't need it made out of steel. The Honda case stuff makes a lot of power. You have any roll valve ITBs? No, like barrel valves? I've seen those, but I've never tested any of them. Just anything that gets all of the stuff out of the way. TrickFlow R series intake. That's not my favorite intake manifold, that's for sure. You probably have the Alien Roswell Monopoly game at Roswell. That'd be good. Machined out a bill of aluminum. That would be cool. And I know Mahowitz would do that if I asked him or paid him or whatever. The other thing to do, it could be done. Maybe Dan would know. You probably could vacuum form that also, right? But we'd have to have a mold for that. Carbon fiber monopoly would be cool too. An airtight mold, yeah, and cover. That would be more for a production piece. Lucas, what engine family are you talking about? Your priority main oiling? The priority main oiling isn't the reason that people switch to an aftermarket block. They switch to an aftermarket block because the mains start moving around. We have 80 BART cars that work with flats because of rain. They get flat tires because of the rain? Dan, does it pay more than YouTube does? Does it pay more? And by that, I mean less than minimum wage. Almost all of the aftermarket blocks will have they're all going to have steel main caps, and some of them will have different types of billet main caps. Bam, 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 bam. Carbon fibery goodness. It could also be milled out of billet wood. Stack balsa like shift knobs, yeah. Billet wood, that's right. So it's made from a single piece, right? It's a billet goodness. And then I could stain it and have a cool pattern. It'd have the rings and go out from the center. That would be awesome. Compression treated wood. Just need to go help some people on some bigger channels. I tried that. It didn't really do much. Seems like line boring aluminum and But the caps on every LS are like that. Steel caps and aluminum blocks. And just like that, it works. Milo, how are you doing? Okay, guys, it's time to get going. Thank you all for showing up. I will be back tonight at 7 for our live feed. And by then, hopefully the first of many videos will be up on all the testing that I did down at WESTECH. Enjoy your days, guy. I will see you tonight. Bow.